Joining me now, a House member, member of the House Judiciary Committee, which will be responsible for drafting and voting on articles of impeachment against the president, Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California. So my first question to you, Congressman, is persuasion on this question possible? And if so, who are you, as a member of this committee that's going to be drafting these articles, who are you trying to persuade?
Thank you, Chris, for that question. Let me reiterate again that impeachment is one of the gravest powers of Congress, second only to our power to declare war, and must always be our last option, reserved for those rare times where we can't wait for the next election. I think we may be at one of those rare times because the facts show that Donald Trump repeatedly solicited foreign interference in our elections. That's a threat to our core of our democracy. And I think the case is particularly powerful because some of the most damning evidence came from Trump's own people like Ambassador Gordon Sondland, who gave $1 million to a Trump inaugural committee. And I think it's those facts from people who are Trump's people that make this case compelling.
Okay, but
wouldn't it be targeting the U.S. senators and seeing if they could see the facts in this case through?
So you represent a fairly Democratic district. It's not like a swing or frontline district. But obviously, when you've got hundreds of thousands of people in the district, you've got people with all sorts of politics. Like, do you feel like just even your own district, there's some set of people who are on the fence that with enough evidence and properly displayed to them, you can bring over to thinking this is the right thing to do who aren't yet convinced?
I think there are some that are on the fence. I think we also have to convince the American public that Democrats have a good case. Whether or not you agree with our ultimate conclusion, if the American public can at least come to the view that the Democrats had a good case to proceed, then I think we have victory there. And their impeachment is like an indictment. I'm a former prosecutor. This is not the trial. This is their indictment phase. We just have to have probable cause that we believe the president engaged in this misconduct, and I think the evidence is overwhelming that he did.
You know, it seems to me that part of the strategy from the beginning, right, is to essentially call the process itself illegitimate, right? That has been the argument from both the White House and from your colleagues in the Republican Party. Just a few hours ago, the president's White House counsel sent a kind of, I don't know the right word, snitty two-paragraph letter saying, appearing to indicate that none of the president's representation will show up at the committee hearing, despite the fact they banged on about wanting that. Do you see them as essentially attempting to delegitimize fundamentally the process you're undertaking in the House?
That's exactly what they're trying to do because they don't have the facts. They have not been able to rebut their main facts in this case, which is that Donald Trump solicited the Ukrainian leader to publicly announce an investigation into the DNC server and the Bidens. And then he conditioned that public announcement on military aid in the critical White House meeting. The White House has not been able to say that any of those facts are wrong or improper. We invited the White House to participate. As a foreign prosecutor, I know that if they had exculpatory evidence, the defense would present it.
Right.
In this case, the exact thing is happening.
So the most interesting member of the House to me on this question right now is Justin Amash. And the reason is that he was a Republican. He came out for impeachment after the Mueller report because of the compelling case for obstruction in the Mueller report before Ukraine. But he has since embraced impeachment. He tweeted today that he could view himself, or I think he told people he could view himself voting for 3 articles of impeachment: obstruction of Congress, obstruction of justice, abuse of power. How much is Amash's view on this significant, important to the way your caucus thinks about it, since he's been kicked out of the Republican Party, but he's not a Democrat?
Representative Amash is someone with high integrity. He is also very conservative. He was a member of the Tea Party, and he looked at the facts, and he made a determination based on his principles and applying the law to the facts, and he concluded that this is impeachable conduct. I wish more people in the Republican Party would do what Justin Amash did. And what we're going to try to do is really present the facts in a sober, deliberate manner, using Trump's own people to make the case against him.
All right. Congressman Ted Lieu of California on the House Judiciary Committee. Thank you so much for your time tonight, sir.
Thank you, Chris.